Hey guys, welcome to Switch, a crazy podcast about crazy people making crazy career moves. We just shot our first episode with Avirup Mondal. He's a graduate of IIT KGP, studied food and agriculture, went on to start his own startup, and now works in growth at Meesho. It's a fun episode. I think you'll enjoy watching it. We're Hushl. We're building a creator platform for young professionals to work together with Gen Zs. Check us out at www.hushl.in.
I never did. I never
You gave
did.
the IIEEE and all.
I didn't. I actually never did. I mean, I studied like all of these things, but I never had
didn't
the
give the
guts to.
exams?
No, I actually.
Really?
I was never good. My rank would have been in the 100,000s if I ever gave the.
But still, you take 12 flights in a month.
Sup, man? Avirup?
All good.
How does it feel to work for a unicorn, have graduated from IIT, and then be made to wait 2 hours to to start?
No, feels good. Feels good to graduate from an IIT and working in a unicorn, in a fast-growing unicorn is very exciting. And yes, this is my first podcast, so definitely super excited for it. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, man. No, of course. And have you done an ag deal? Do you understand agriculture? I've done one ag deal when I was in VC. Have you done?
So the firm that I work in invests in agri-tech, but I have not
Done an
personally
ag deal.
done an ag deal.
Yeah, and I studied agriculture for 5 years.
I
which
know.
is- yeah.
Yeah. So tell us. Okay. So why don't we start and you tell us give us the chronology because you've done crazy things. But give us actually maybe start with why ag and tell us a little bit about like IIT JEE and all of that.
Yeah, sure.
And then walk us through it in a minute.
Okay. So why I took agricultural and food engineering? Because I didn't have any other option. And I wanted to get into IIT Kharagpur, to be very specific, because of the exposure that it offers. And I see IIT Kharagpur as a plethora of opportunities where you can explore a lot. And also I see IIT Kharagpur as a paid vacation as well.
Wow. Tell us more about why it's a paid vacation.
So it's a huge campus with 10,000 plus people there. Plus you have a lot of activities where you can participate in, and I was a part of our social and cultural fest, which is Spring Fest. And with my natural intent or interest in marketing, that was something that helped me improve or polish my skills more. And I wanted to explore more different career path as well. So I interned with PSUs like Steel Authority of India. Then I shifted to Britannia Industries and did an internship in FMCG. And then I did an internship in the next year in a firm, TCS Innovation Labs, as a data analyst intern. But none of them fascinated me as much as working for Springfest or getting things done or seeing the impact happening in the campus. So after that, what I thought that I should work with early stage startups, because there we can see the action happening, right?
This is the first time I've actually heard somebody pick a college because he wanted to manage the cool fest of the college.
And it's like IIT, right? How was did you give the JEE?
I never did. I never
You gave
did.
the IIEEE and all.
I didn't. I actually never did. I mean, I studied like all of these things, but I never had
didn't
the
give the
guts to.
exams?
No, I actually.
Really?
I was never good. My rank would have been in the 100,000s if I ever gave the.
But still, you take 12 flights in a month.
Yeah, I guess it worked out for me.
The inside joke on that is that before we started, Nandan was telling us about how he's taken 12 flights this month. So
Yeah.
you've arrived, a little late, but you've arrived. I want to ask you about just this. When did you know that you wanted to do IIT? Was it worth it?
I would say it is definitely worth it. Not because of the course that I studied, that is definitely good, but because of the exposure that I got, the friends that I've made, and also I learned a lot from professors, friends, and again from whatever I used to do day in and day out. So yes, it is definitely worth it. And I also got an opportunity to represent a college in Vietnam in Hult Prize. So that was also a way out where I interacted with a lot of visionary founders, and that gave me a chance or an opportunity to think that even I have the potential to convert an idea into reality. So yes, like I got a lot of opportunities staying in the college. So in that way, it did help me a lot.
But tell us about the idea. I know you've done a bunch of startups and now you work with startups. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're quite like the person who's done like the whole 0 to 1 journey. You've seen it yourself. And now you're sort of part of very high growth, fast-paced startups where things are moving so super quickly. So one quick question, like how was your experience of starting up?
So I would just take one step behind, like why did I start up? So I was interning in Dubai for 2 months in a early stage startup. I was directly working with the founder and also taking care of the digital marketing for them, end to end from strategy to execution. So that gave me a sense that yes, I can move things by myself, and also gave me the confidence that I can work towards that. And when I was interning there, I came up with the idea of building a freelancing marketplace for designers, developers, and digital marketers. Because what I feel is in India, the education for freelancers is very, very less. And it's important that we create economy for ourselves, or we become micro entrepreneurs by ourselves, right? So that's why when I came back to my college, so I wanted to experiment this idea. And since I was in my final year, I had to choose between setting for placements or doing my own startup. So I took a midway, and just to mitigate the risk, and what I did was I deferred my placements. So that in that way I mitigated the risk, and also I got more confidence to work on my startup. And since I was in my final year, a lot of my friends also helped me out in brainstorming and building that particular idea. So again, the college helped me a lot there. And and as your question, like what I learned from that 0 to 1 experience is idea is not everything. Team is definitely a major chunk of building a good startup, because ideation is something that stays on the board, but you actually make money, or you actually do things when you build a great team and they are focused on doing what they're best at.
Right. So okay, one more question. How did you build a team? If you could just like really break it down. Like I get like, somebody is there, you look around and you're like, hey, will you join me? Is there some method to this madness?
Why don't you before that?
Yeah.
So I know you tried doing stuff with like decent Neta, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you've tried your hand at like
Yeah.
startups, you've tried to build a team. So tell me more about like, give us more background to that question. 'cause
Well, I
know
always
that
find it challenging. I mean, the easiest way to obviously build a team is to actually find somebody that you really trust. And then the other thing I've been saying for the longest time is that fun is the only sustainable thing. So as long as you're having fun, whoever the team is, you'll eventually at some point build something. But then as you start building and you start really like getting into the weeds of the problem, you're like, okay, there are so many things that I need to figure out that I actually don't have the skill sets for. So now, why don't you tell me how you figured that out? Because I actually didn't. My startup like shut down in like a good 6-7 months. We made decent progress, but I think yours did a lot better than mine.
Understood. So for me, the first and the foremost is what I see is do I really have a past working experience with that particular person? Like, did we even pull off a decent project together? So that gives a lot of confidence, right? And second thing is
Like a college project.
correct. And like my co-founder was general secretary, social and cultural, and I was sponsorship and marketing in the fest that we used
That
to.
fest is really
that fest is like, you know.
the fest
That's
is
the
really the
crux
place
of
to hire.
everything.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So yes. So first thing first, and the second thing is whether that person, my co-founder, is having the counter skills which I don't have, right? Or which I would like to delegate. For example, I know how to sell things really well. He knows how to build things really well. So that was a very great match for us.
Yeah.
So these are the two important things, and definitely third thing, whether he or she is believing in that idea or not. Because if we don't believe in the same idea, the directions might differ. So majorly these are the three things I would look into. And again, like once you have the co-founder, then you build other teams, right? So once you have a co-founder whom you can definitely trust a lot, then building the next set of people or hiring the next set of people becomes much easier because you know what's your skill sets, you know what are the skill sets of your counterpart, and accordingly you can delegate work to each other.
Tell us one place where you just messed up. Like what's the one? And tell us like decision wise. You placed a bet.
Yeah.
And you thought कि this will explode, chamkega, but then it just tanked. What's one?
Yeah, so when we were building Growth Mart, which was a freelancing marketplace, we were solving for a lot of problems. And when we solve for a lot of problems, we don't actually conclude anything. So that, in short, we were trying to build a marketplace, we were trying to build a product for the freelancers, we were trying to build an invoicing tool for the freelancers, and then we realized that we are fucked up. Like we should know how to prioritize things and then move ahead, because as founders we have limited bandwidth and we can't focus on everything at once.
You know, I think I've told you this at some point, which is at DRK, which is an organization I worked for in Boston. We used to have a quote that says, you know, early stage startups don't die of starvation, they die of indigestion. Because you just like eat too much, and it sounds like that might resonate with you guys,
Definitely,
right? Like,
yes,
you were,
definitely, yes.
And I think it's true for like especially smart founders, because you think you can get stuff done and you can get things done,
yes.
but you start doing so much that then you die of like indigestion or something like that.
I remember focusing on company registration, focusing on raising funds, focusing on building a team, focusing on marketing, focusing on building a product, focusing on tech, which there were few parts which I didn't understand. Then still I tried to understand. So then I later on realized that YC says the correct thing. Focus on two things. That's all. Build your product, talk to users. In the early stage, these are the two things you need to do, nothing else. So that was a learning which I learned in a hard way. Yes.
And how much of this, I mean, just going back a little bit into your background, 5 years of studying agriculture. What is one study for 5? I've noticed.
Yeah, tell us about like.
Yeah, like we were discussing this today, and we were wondering whether you know more than a farmer.
Definitely, I don't know more than a farmer, being very honest.
Even after going
Like
to
5
IIT
years, you have a
Kharagpur and
master's
did
from
double
like
master's.
IIT.
I have a master's from IIT, but yes, I have decent knowledge in agriculture. But again, like what I believe is, if you don't, like, I am passionate about marketing, I'm passionate about growth.
Right.
So I have spent most of my time learning those skills in my college.
Right.
And I used to take a lot of electives, rather 40% of my electives were outside agricultural and food engineering.
Got it.
But yes, I have to graduate. So yes, I studied agriculture and food engineering. I studied business as well from Vinod Gupta School of Management, which is a MBA college inside our college, and there's an entrepreneurship school as well. So I used to take electives from those. So 40% of my electives were from these two institutes.
Right.
Should we do 2 more questions before we move on to the rapid fire?
Yeah.
Are we really doing a rapid fire?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a rapid fire. Okay, no, the other thing is you've been an entrepreneur and now you're an employee. How does that like sit with you?
Humbling experience.
Which one is humbling? Like tell us more, man.
When you are an employee, you don't have all the decision making power. And you need to make sure that like when you are an entrepreneur, right? When you are running your own company, then you can decide what can be the direction of the company, or what work you will be doing on a day-to-day basis. But when you are an employee, things are very much defined. Like, this is the strategy you're going to work for, this is the metric you need to move. So it is very much defined role. So I feel a bit stagnant there. But again, since like where I'm working now, I'm working at Meesho, and it is a fast growing company, and I'm looking after user growth there, specifically user communication. So that role in specific, I'm very blessed to be here, because it is a mix of both your left brain and right brain, because you are also working on the analytical aspect of it, you're also working on the creative aspect of it. So in that way, I'm happy about it. But again, unhappy for the fact that you have the freedom of thought and the freedom of experimentation, when you're an entrepreneur, but which you don't have when you're an employee.
Would you go back to being an entrepreneur?
Definitely yes, but definitely like that depends. Like I would definitely not like to repeat the same mistakes that I've done before. And second thing, I would definitely need a stronger team than before.
And one more fest. एक fest
हाँ,
और
एक और
करेगा
fest
तो
करा देंगे.
फिर co-founder भी मिल जाएगा और nice, got
Yes.
it.
So again, like people look at Springfest or any fest as just a recreational thing. But how I look at fest is it's a platform which allows a lot of people from arts, from music, from dance and other facets to show their talent. And that becomes a platform for them to to resonate their skills and also to outgrow from what they are, because we are giving them a platform of 10,000 people looking at them and giving them that recognition. So I've seen that in people's eyes, right?
Yeah.
So that has been crazy. Like I remember a senior of mine coming to me and saying that पीछे देखो जितनी जनता खड़ी हुई है वो सब तुमने लाया. So that was a insane moment of satisfaction that yes, like you can see what you have done in front of your eyes.
Right.
So yes, that is the kind of hustle which I always keep on looking in whatever work I'm doing. Even at Meesho, when we are looking after user communication, so that contributes a significant percent to your daily active users. So that has direct correlation with your business. So you always have that hustle day in and day out, that numbers कहाँ पे गिर रहा है, metrics फट रहा है, और अभी क्या कर सकते हैं. So yes, like it's pretty interesting in my role as well, and the past has been interesting as well. So
Do you have a moment like that? Like that's a great story, right? Like when some college senior tells you कि पीछे देख यार जितनी जनता खड़ी है सब तुमने लाया. Like I think we all have moments like that when at some point you're like someone, ideally someone you respect, someone older than you sort of says कि
Yeah.
well done buddy. Do you have a moment like that?
Also, when I feel like when it happens to you very young, I think it really gives you a very important confidence booster, because you feel like validated. That some of the things that you're saying and doing actually resonate with some people, and to actually see it play out in real time, and then get feedback for that, positive feedback, and even negatives, obviously a learning opportunity. But when you get that sort of positive feedback, I think you begin to believe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there's this little bit more confidence in your stride. I think all of these can actually contribute to just helping you grow a little faster.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that was the fest for you, I think that's wonderful. For us, it was debates, I think, maybe which you should probably do in college, but
I would say everyone chooses their game, right? For you it was debate, for me it was fest, for you it might have been something else.
Yeah.
But the crux remains the same, that you work hard for a few months or a certain period of time, and then you see the impact of your work. So if that turnaround time is less than a year, then that gives a lot of confidence booster.
okay. On that note, Aditya, are we ready to grill him with our So, Avirup, the thing is, we are first time, podcasters. And so we thought, why not learn from the master himself, Karan Johar? And, he always has a rapid fire. So we thought, we got to have our own rapid fire. Maybe by the next time we'll be more innovative. But yeah, go for it.
Should we
Aditya.
do it? Okay.
Let's throw some tough questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the deal with the rapid fire is the same thing, that you have to answer fat say, which is whatever comes to your mind.
Sure.
They're not like controversial and all, they're just fun questions. First one is,
So you've worked in a bunch of industries, a bunch of sectors. You've worked in agri, you've worked in edtech, now you work in e-commerce. If you had to be a thought leader or an entrepreneur in any of these sectors and commit your life for the next 5 to 10 years, which sector would you pick and why?
I would choose e-commerce because whatever I have done previously was very much unstructured, and I've learned by myself, which is well and good. But since at e-com, like when I'm working at Meesho, I have a very structured knowledge and a very wide domain of knowledge at the moment, and e-commerce is booming a lot, and with the penetration of internet in India, that percentage of adoption will also increase. So there's a lot of things that you can do in e-commerce.
Got it. Okay. In the sort of Meesho tagline, that answer is "Arey wah." Okay, your turn.
Do you think people in general would enjoy founding a startup or working at a Series A startup?
If someone is having high risk taking appetite and the hustle attitude, then the first one, they can start their own. But if someone who wants to start on their own, but at the same time has a backseat because they want to learn from others, Series A startup is the option.
Got it. So that's a good segue to my next question, which is you can either be only an employee, okay, or an entrepreneur for life. Now, as an employee, you'll have a stable job, you'll do well. As an entrepreneur, there's no clarity. But you have to pick only one.
I'll go for the entrepreneur.
Okay.
The reason being, like, you fail once, you fail twice,
But you
won't fail all the time,
someday you'll
right?
figure it
And
out.
since it's a binary thing, like it's a red pill or the blue pill, so I'll take the entrepreneur pill.
Got it. Okay.
Cool. This is our final question?
Yeah.
This is our final question. What advice would you give 20-year-old Avirup?
Also, if I may add to that, how would you define success going forward? Or what is success to you going forward?
For me, since I'll keep this a little bit longer answer. Yeah. So for me, since childhood I have been traveling because of my parents, and again that helped me realize that I want or I like change and exploring new things. And at the same time, even after college, I keep traveling a lot in India itself. So I want to design my life in a way where I have the freedom of location independence. And the advice that I would give a 20-year-old Avirup is experiment more, explore more, because 20 to 25 is an age where you have less liability and you have more energy, which might degrade with time. So yes, I would say that a 20-year-old Avirup should have the freedom of failure and also have the ability to convert the pain into your fuel, so that you can actually make a difference, or at least try to make a difference before you make your life very stationary or very stagnant.
Convert your pain into your fuel. That's like rock star, but as an entrepreneur, you know. Yeah, cool. That was fun.
Thanks, Avirup, for joining us and having this conversation with us.
Do you have any questions for us, man? Like, we've grilled you. Do you have any questions for us? Any questions, any final thoughts, comments?
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about your idea, and I would definitely like to see it grow and reach the unicorn table very soon. So just wanted to know from you that what's your take on, or why did you start this idea, and what's your plan moving forward?
Awesome. You can't lose an opportunity when a guest plugs your startup, right? Like, so for everyone listening, I'm co-founding this startup called Hushl with a pretty solid co-founder from IIT KGP. Did not meet him in a fest, but met him at Entrepreneur First. And it's called Hushl. And what we're doing is we're building a creator platform for young professionals like Avirup, who've got just crazy, insane journeys and like so much advice and wisdom to give people to build their careers in public and sort of share their advice, wisdom with young adults. Because we've spoken to a bunch of young adults in high school and in college, and we've realized that like trying to find the right career is like really hard. And like I think parents and teachers and peers are often not able to actually give you the right kind of advice. Young professionals like you actually can, I think, and people will listen to you as well. And so we're trying to create a platform that, connects these two people. It's a super exciting platform. Check us out at hushl.in. That's hushl.in. We want to be the LinkedIn in the creator economy for young adults.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for that, man. Thanks for the plug. Cool. All right, that was it. Lots of fun, and we'll see you on the platform.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, thanks, Avirup.